Play to preserve the past, evolving cultural heritage through augmented reality. Traditional Vietnamese folk art, such as Dom Ho paintings, is at risk of fading away due to lack of interest and appreciation. Advanced 3D technologies, such as augmented reality, are often used along with gamification and storytelling to draw attention and engage the audiences with the cultural object. The project Wisdom of the Lost Folk AR proposes a mobile experience that utilizes augmented reality to create an interactive and engaging way to learn about the cultural significance of folk wisdom and traditional values. By digitizing and gamifying traditional Vietnamese folk art, the project aims to renew interest in cultural heritage through active participation and learning, representing the evolving Vietnamese cultural heritage through interactive AR technology. This research project also investigates how will cultural heritage evolve with 3D augmented reality technologies. Based on the foundation of reflective and emergent practice, the methodology includes cultural artifact classification and examination, iterative AR prototyping using a game-based approach and interactive narrative, playtesting and adjustments to feedback, user evaluation to conclude the experience effectiveness. The significance of this research will lie in its values to cultural professionals and interactive media practitioners by introducing a promising prototype for representing cultural heritage in the digital era. This response will lead to meaningful human interactions with cultural heritage and encourage the practice vital to keep heritage alive alongside unstoppable technological progress. How do current contemporary practices represent the evolving cultural heritage via augmented reality? To begin with, what is evolving? To evolve is to unroll something already existing and can refer to a developing formation of ideas and principles or a continual working out process to expand wisdom. Evolution can be encapsulated as following the notable and eccentric logic of progress. The fittest will survive, ultimately. Culture is the way of life of a society and is comprised of ideas, behaviors, and artifacts that can be studied, cultivated, and transmitted among individuals and can convert and alter with time as it does evolve. In the contemporary context, culture is art, which can include music, painting, literature, and sculpture. Art reflects its society, and by looking at artworks and their backgrounds, we discover the way of life of their creators and users, reaching a further understanding of culture and how it has evolved. The concept of cultural heritage demonstrates recognition and appreciation of culture as a representation of human civilization and traditions inherited through generations. Indeed, any effort to represent and revive traditions needs deliberate scrutiny, as we would want to avoid particular social groups imposing certain stereotypes of the past. Invented traditions is the term used to indicate practices that are invented, constructed, and formally instituted. In this case, this expression corresponds to research practices that explore the concept of evolving cultural heritage as efforts to establish a continuity with the past while being recent. Vietnam and Southeast Asia region share similar experiences of colonization, independence, nation-building, and modernity. In the 19th century, colonization brought into the region new mediums for visualizing arts, triggering local artists to respond to new modern conditions. Synthesis and innovation, aspiration for worldliness while seeking local forms, are the common themes that emerge in this process. The study of Southeast Asian modern art practices highlights a core similarity between the former motivation to adopt new painting forms from modern Western aesthetics and today's effort to preserve cultural heritage with advanced 3D technologies. research-based art practices of today strive to represent the past to the present lens, to reflect realities of today's society, and explore issues of identity from the researcher's deep passion to learn, generate, and transmit knowledge. Humanity has been through constant changes driven by technological advances. The invention of computers and the internet has revolutionized our way of living by creating a digital world of the new reality full of complexities, enjoyment, and convenience. From living in a single world, the actual reality, we now alternatively live in both the physical and digital world, switching our perception and attention between two. The development of augmented reality, mainly pushed by technology, has united two types of world, merging physical and digital, real and augmented. It allows humans to rejoice in a seamless, non-transitional experience. In this middle ground, we can implant and superimpose computer-generated content into the real world, overlap and blend them to enhance the reality. It is becoming more evident that AR might be the next big technology, similar to how computers and mobile phones enter our back pockets and transform our lives. As Furness articulated, the technology tools are not an end in themselves, but a means to an end. It is clear that Heidegger's theory as technology being not an instrument but a way of understanding the world can guide modern practices. In adopting 3D AR technologies to reconstruct cultural heritage, it is challenging to develop the correct phrase to characterize this marriage. Digital heritage is a term that describes the fusion of digital technology and cultural heritage initiatives. This emerging field includes a wide range of practices, such as augmented reality, 3D modeling, and interaction design. It refers to digitized historical materials and original digital content developed to represent and interpret cultural references. In this context, we will analyze the best practices that implement the similar process. These examples reconstruct history and cultural values by adding complementary interpretative layers that are imaginative, entertaining, and contextual framing, while using the medium of AR for creative expression. Firstly, we have to discuss Pokémon Go, the most popular AR and the most successful location-based game in history. The game's origin reveals a history of Japanese seasonal play practices. When the creator invented Pokémon in 1996, it was already rooted in playful mobility and engagement with the urban environment, based on his childhood experience collecting insects around his hometown in regional Japan. This insect collection practice originates in the collection of seasonally appropriate fish, insects, berries, and flora necessary for survival in ancient Japan. Pokémon was a reaction to urbanization. This concept was also married to the release platform, the Nintendo Game Boy, a mobile handheld console that allowed players to take the game out into the world and share their experiences with their peers. We see this legacy of cultural practice informing game design further developed in Pokémon Go, which places the virtual insect collection experience back into the physical context using AR technology. To summarize this, Pokémon Go's popularity and suitability for AR can be traced back to its roots in Japanese culture and the evolution of Japanese seasonal play. Moreover, this surfaces how the evolution and contemporary recontextualization of embedded cultural practices, alongside evolution of technology, might be the formula for a massively successful and widely adopted. Storytelling and songs were one of the primary ways that culture, language, and history were passed down through generations. For some communities, however, colonization resulted in cultural knowledge being forcibly taken, denied, and forgotten. Cultural revival proliferates with new ceremonies and the recovery of language information through archival sources. These sources exist in different forms, from the exhibition of artworks, such as Ever Present, First Peoples Art of Australia, to AR applications like Yalingooth. Yalingooth means yesterday in the Woi Wurrung language. The mobile application is an audio experience reflecting the oral tradition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. With location-based storytelling and interactive sound design, the app takes the audience on a journey through time while minimizing the use of screens. The elders guide players along the journey and tell players stories, poems, songs, and the rich oral traditions of their cultures. Within the spatialized sound environment, players navigate by audio cues with a map showing their locations and point to areas to hear narratives from pre-colonial times. Yalingooth aims to connect all communities to historical first-hand accounts told by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, with the core purpose of increasing empathy, respect, and community connection. The immersion of the past situated in the urbanized street of Australia raised novel discussions about the idea of place, where the land is the story, the issue of language, and translanguaging, the connection we have with our surroundings. It encourages users to contemplate history and identities while transmitting a novel message. We need to go back to go forward. Indeed, this message also encapsulates the essence of modern preservation practices. In conclusion, through conducting literature review, I have gained a deeper understanding of the field and comprehended the broader picture of art, culture, and technological development in different spheres of the world. By examining the history of modern art in Southeast Asia, I could draw a resemblance between art practices in the past to strive against colonization while adopting Western aesthetics, and modern research practices to preserve cultural identities while embracing advanced technologies. There is a congruence of meaning and motivation in these two parallel efforts, the protection of traditional values and heritage. Nevertheless, with the unstoppability of technological progress, they share an evolving nature. The uncovering has reinforced the research motivation direction. Indeed, the same process has happened in the past. Perhaps, exploring the notion of evolving cultural heritage is how I, as a researcher and practitioner, evolve as a human in this era of technology, just like how painters adapt to their history, environment, and social context in the past. Looking at the timeline of AR development and adoption in the West, I realized that AR, even in constant progress, seems to be forever emerging and never fully emerged. Pokémon Go, an explosive phenomenon in 2016, was similar to a cinema's blockbuster hit when it was released. However, the public still needs to be familiarized with it since then. This situation has raised questions about some lacking crucial factors that can finally make it the next cinema of humanity. By tracing back to Walter Benjamin's idea, Rhodes has given a potential answer to that problem. We need something similar of AR, a medium that allows us to play, and that play space is not in the moment of cuts between views, but in the space between the computer and our perception. Indeed, the answer given about Rhodes is not exhaustive. The methodological approach of this research will be consulted through studies of various fields across digital humanities, anthropology, user experience research, human-computer interaction, and media studies. However, to unlock the potentialities of AR, especially for cultural heritage continuation and active participation, I will need to sail on this ongoing journey of learning and examining practices with similar core values. Fortunately, by looking at the best practices in the field across AR and cultural heritage, I have gained insights and confidence in my research through a collection of novel works promising an exciting future for learning, entertainment, and tourism in the community. In this digital era, it is time AR practitioners and researchers asked not only what, but so what. Technology is not merely a tool. It can protect our heritage by including participatory and community-engaged practices. Furthermore, suppose we also remind ourselves that the mantra of AR should not harm, while at the same time remaining open to innovation and above all, creative play. In that case, technology can truly enrich our lives.